Is it going? Is it going? Is it going? Hey, Will, is it going?
Yeah.
It's going. Okay, so last night we got a little bit of rain here at home, just about 1/10 of an inch. Just about 1/10 of an inch, which is nothing to really get excited about, but I'm always excited when we see moisture in a year that we haven't had any moisture. And yes, I'm driving again. Seems like what I'm doing mostly these days is drive. Excuse me. The 1/10 of an inch here, but where we needed the rain the most, which is down south, it claims we got an inch of rain. And there is a farm up to the north where I have my succotash field, and the succotash field needs rain terribly because I'm feeding corn and soybeans. That seems to have gotten about 6 to 7/10 of an inch according to my weather app. All right. Now, I've sprayed these soybeans here along my driveway twice last week, maybe the last 2 weeks. Yeah, twice. It was twice within 7 days. Once with my secret sauce, glyphosate, and potash sulfur mix. And what the hell else did I have in there? Oh, a little ammonium sulfate. A little ammonium sulfate to make the spray work better. So, water conditioner is what it is. I'll take a quick stab out here in the field real quick. And I got video of this thing from when I was spraying it. And now what I'm going to show you right now, maybe I can splice them together if I've got the time to do it. Yeah, the second time I went over it with and I needed to spray the horse nettle out of it because it was full of horse nettle. See this stuff? Horse nettle, or whatever they call them, some kind of tomatoes or whatever, but they are kind of a tomato. These are the last soybeans that we planted, and I put down the deer repellent. There's about 50 acres here, 48 to 50 acres here. 45 to 50 acres is what I should say. There is an immense amount of deer pressure here. Immense. When I say immense, I mean there is deer pressure here. Terrible. I have put liquid calcium on this as well, which makes a huge difference because this soil has not seen calcium ever, as long as I can ever remember. I've never put it on. It's only ever been a mulch hay project field, and to be honest with you, the soybeans are coming around. We are supposed to get more rain here this afternoon. For the next 6 or 7 days, we're supposed to have showers or whatnot come through, which produce, you know, 1/10 here, 1/10 there, and 1/10 the other place. So you can see that there is deer crap here, which is just indicative of incredible amounts of deer. I mean, look at this. There's deer shit everywhere. But since I put down the foliar that chases the deer off, I don't seem to be having that issue as bad. They're moving on. There's another farmer who farms less than a half a mile away from here, and I'm gonna go show you what his beans look like. I farm half of that property and he farms the other half of that property. Why, I don't know, you know, but you know, it's okay. I'm good with that. He planted his beans about twice as thick as what I did to combat the deer, I'm sure. And the amazing thing is that that's just more food for them. I was down there the other day baling hay. Hold on a second. I was baling hay, my hay down there 2 days ago, and sure as Pope's Catholic, there was 30 deer on this little, hey, knock it off. Knock it off. Anyway, about 30 deer down there, so they were chowing down on it. So let me shut up and I'll go down and show you them beans. All right, so this is a half a mile away from my farm that I was just at. You can see that these beans are planted, same deal, no till. This was wheat stubble from last year. He sprayed it, killed it with whatever he used. I have no idea. There's probably a residual in there. But yeah, this is what real deer damage looks like. This is the reason I quit growing soybeans, was because of damage like this. And this is the good part of the field. Now, you get down to the bottom, there was no less than 20 deer at the bottom of this little, what is this, 2.5 acres maybe. 3 acres. And then there's another small field on the other side of that washout. I make the hay here and down around the back and on down. And there's like a really good sized field. This farm is 200, I think it's 260 acres. But there's a really good sized field up there, and he must have a permit to shoot deer, because there's a trail that comes up with a 4-wheeler, and those beans down there, which is covered by woods all around it, and a park to the north of it, or the south of it, north uphill from it. Those beans, they look better, but the deer have just hammered the crap out of him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go another 1/4 of a mile to the home farm there, where I have applied, and these beans were planted before mine, the beans that I'm going to show you in this next video clip. And this is all thanks to a product that I purchased and am quite faithful, or quite impressed with. And look at the size of that damn horsefly. He's going to come in here and try and bite me. Anyway, yeah, I'll take you up to the home farm where I've used this mineral that I've purchased. It's a foliar feed, soil conditioner, and deer remover. It will kick the deer off the farm. Now, where the boom swing is, you know, where you go around the corner too fast and you don't back up and do your thing there the right way, yeah, the deer were getting into it. And I'm going to show you the difference. Where that boom swing was, and I just reapplied the other day in that area, and I laid it on at about 20 ounces, about 20 ounces to the acre of this stuff, and I have literally chased those deer off the farm. They're gone. They are not on there. They are eating the neighbor's beans. And, well, as I pull up this road here, there were about 40 deer that were coming down from these properties here, heading over to where those beans were that I just showed you. And it's not a half a mile. It might be a 1/3 of a mile from there. All open fields. To get from, not all open fields, there's woods. I mean, this is home, you know, this is home. My house is that way, but this is the home farm starting here, and this is our woods. We own this. We own a little bit over there around the S-bends, and then we have the hill where there is a car coming down the hill. I don't know who it is. I don't really care, but we're gonna film them as they come up the other side. Oh, it's a Prius. Who the heck that is? They slowed down and looked at me like they thought I ought to know me. Anyways, up the famed test hill, which is very steep if you didn't know. And here is the hay pile where I've been stacking hay. So we'll pull into the hay pile here, and I'll show you the worst part of this field where the boom swing was, and where the deer feel comfortable. Now, mind you, the beans that I just showed you were planted before these soybeans here. The only huge difference, and I do have some Jimson weed here. I should come down and chew it off with the oh my God, I should chew it off with a brush hog. So here's the worst part. That is groundhog damage. Trust me, that is groundhog damage. The deer were in here along the edges of these fields. This was corn last year. I don't know why they really targeted that area. It should have had the that deer remover. I call it deer remover. I'm not even going to call it a repellent. It just removes them. Yes, had good corn on this farm. This is home. This ground was this ground had lime and compost, and yeah, fair amount of lime and compost. I did put the foliar potassium sulfate stuff on it to give it a little bit of a boost. You will see deer damage along the edge here, right? Just a little. Oh, maybe that isn't deer damage. Yeah, you'll see it here. They'll go right along the edge because they feel safe between the two fields. This is a terrace for erosion control. Oh, we got point rows here. Well, a deer had been in here. You can see where that deer just sat there and ate and ate and ate. But those beans that I showed you before, those were planted before these by about a week. I believe it was about a week. And then you get out into the interior of the field where they will not go down into. These are the end. This is where the drill gets raised up and lowered down. Oh, is there pods? Are there pods? Yeah, I'd say there's pods. So these beans are podding up right now. I do have a little bit what I would consider bug damage. Yeah, they're on the back side of those leaves. I may have to come back through here with some more secret sauce, but I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. Well, it might be worth it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these back here. And what do we got hanging down there? You see those pods? Branched out, podding up like crazy. And yeah, so, and those beans are not at my ankles, they're at my thigh or crotch if you really want to get technical. These beans still have a lot of growing to do. It is the beginning of August. Yeah, and these aren't the best beans. This is drier area. This field is dry. The field down below there, that's a wetter field below the barn and below the very bottom field there. That field, the lower end of it was getting chewed off, so I put that mineral down, that foliar feed, that foliar deer removing mineral that just chases these suckers off of here. That stuff, that's the stuff to get. Man, and I'm not telling you what it is. Not yet, not yet. I gotta go meet with a guy, then I'll tell you what it is, maybe. Oh, I may or may not tell you. I may just, yeah, not do that in certain circles. I just don't. There's certain people I want to suffer in this area for being assholes to me. So I'm not going to give them the secret to my success on soybeans. Just not going to do it. There are several things that I'm doing to these soybeans that a lot of people would just love to know about. They're not ever going to find out. They're not going to find out because they are the type of people that would take the information or cozy up to you, try to get the information that you have, and then treat you like you're yesterday's newspaper, you know? And that's what I'm tired of dealing with. So it may sound like I'm a jerk off because of that, but it's not. It's because I'm getting tired of being used for information and used for whatever it is, and I'm done with that. That part of my life is over. So they can all just stick it up their ass, because I'm not going to tell them what I'm using to remove the deer, and I'm not going to tell them what I'm doing to put more pods on without using chemicals. That's just not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. The insect control that I have gotten from my secret sauce is second to none. The best thing I have ever done to get rid of insects off of soybeans, and it is like pure gold, man. That stuff is pure gold. Doesn't cost, but what does it cost? About $2.26 a gallon at a 3-gallon rate. Will take off aphids, whiteflies, and all the little stinging, sap-sucking insects. It actually causes them to pop. They eat it, they bloat, they pop, they die, and that's the end of them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I'm going to say about that. Kid's acting like you today. So it rained enough that it actually made waves in. It was running off the field, so that's a good thing. This is a 50, not quite a 50-acre field, or maybe it's a little more than 50 acres. This is where the compost pile was. See all these leaves on the ground? That's deer damage. They're coming in and they're eating. The last time I was here, this corn was only about waist high. This is the pineapple field that I showed a couple weeks back. When we were making hay, I was stacking in here. And of course, this is the driest part of the field. This knoll is very dry, but it is catching up. I mean, it's catching up. It's catching some catching some moisture. So we definitely had some rain. I'm going to get down on my hands and knees here in a second. And I'm going to show you that this is going to be a multiple staged maturity on this corn. I got corn that's 6-7 feet tall. It's just putting an ear out now, which is good. We had that rain last night, so it will pollinate. It will pollinate. So that's a plus. That is a plus. And then you get over here to these areas here where they're shorter. It is just an effing mess, to be honest with you. But the wetter parts of these fields out there, you can see that they're tasseled a long time ago, and there is a valley down in there. I'm pleased with what I'm seeing. It's not going to be a total loss. I was there when I was here looking at the pineapples that it looked like, or onions, how some people call their corn onions when it does that. I was very disappointed, very worried for my family's existence in agriculture after that, because as you all know, I do not take money from the government. I do not have crop insurance. I figure in my life, if I can't make it on my own, I can't make it at all. So those are my thoughts. I do not take government welfare. I just don't take government welfare. So first things first, I'm gonna stop talking here, and yeah, I'm gonna get my trusty dusty knife out, and I'm gonna go to one of the tracks. This is how I sprayed against the rows. You can see that I went this way in a straight line. The GPS worked really good because my tractor tires are too wide to go down the rows. Okay, so let's see what kind of wildlife we've got growing here. We've got the larger insects. These are eating vegetation. They are not the type of bugs that eat living, growing stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead. Well, let's show you a couple of things that I have here. I'm gonna show you right up close look. See that white crystalline looking stuff? That is the lime that I put on earlier. This is all garlic. That's garlic cloves. That's what I just dug into, a ball of garlic. So yeah, the soil has enough moisture into it now that the corn is going to really do its thing. So look at that. I'm digging garlic cloves. Look at that stuff. Another reason why I did away with the hay on this farm was because I need to change the crop. But the soil looks good. This is a nice dark looking soil versus the lighter soils that have been tilled for many years. This has been a hay crop. I had beans on here one year. I no-tilled the beans in, and I went right back into hay again the next year, and it was all no-till. There was never any tillage, which really helped the soil. Okay, so we've got these tasseling ears. We don't have a nitrogen deficiency per se. This is where I ran over the crop, but let's get out here. There's no nitrogen deficiencies. There's no phosphate deficiencies. There's no potash deficiencies. There is just what you would call drought-stricken corn. Now, if you come down here, this is a nitrogen deficiency, right? Or is that potash? One goes up the center, the other one goes up the sides. Again, this is just strictly from stressed corn. That is, heat-stressed corn will do that, whether the nitrogen is there or not. I know the nitrogen's there through the compost that I put down and the commercial fertilizer I put down. We're going to have areas like this because this is a knoll, a dry knoll. If I walk down there maybe, I don't know, 50 feet, 100 feet, it'll be tall and stuff. So it is tasseling no matter where I am, even the short ones. I was going to show you that if you're not sure if your corn is going to tossle right away or later on, this is actually going to tossle right away because it is right there. Pull the center out of one of them like that and you will see the tossle. I have corn that is tossling in a field. It's a different variety than this. This is a deculb variety. It is tossling at different stages. That variety, where there was enough moisture to get it to grow to the stage where it was able to tossle, it did. Where there wasn't enough moisture to grow, to get to that stage, the corn actually went dormant. Those were FS varieties. And at dormancy, in that dormancy, it shut the plant down that it wasn't even pushing a tassel. You pull the center out like I did, and then you start unfurling the leaves. And you unfurl and unfurl and unfurl. And it's probably a week and a half behind the already tasseled corn of the same variety in the same field. So I don't know what this is going to produce. Personally, there's definitely enough water there, moisture there now, to get it to pollinate. This is going to amount to absolutely nothing. A hemp dogbane, which is a nightmare to kill. I hate that stuff. That affects it. But this is a ridge, a very dry ridge. If you were to run a plow down this ridge, it would come up shale at, shale at about, crumbled shale to 8 to 10 inches. If I was to take a ripper down through there, I would be pulling up chunks of shale the size of, my body. But you get down over here and it looks a lot nicer, nicer compared to what it should be. By no means is this going to be any kind of a record-breaking yield. And like I have stated in the past, I only need to come up with, on this farm, 67 bushels of corn for my break-even. That's my break-even, 67 bushels. I'm okay with that, because if I break even, I haven't really lost anything. And that's okay, because I do have corn that looks to me like it's going to push 200 bushels on some other farms. I will show you that in a later video. That stuff is probably 10 feet tall. Got 3 showers that we definitely did not get here. And of course, the raccoons don't choose corn that is low to tear the ears out of. No. They come to the good stuff, the stuff that's gonna, have ears on it here. This looks like it's gonna have a couple of ears per stalking. This may surprise you. I mean, you get worried to no end as to what it's gonna look like at the end of the season. Are you gonna make any money? Are you gonna break even? Are you gonna lose? So I'm confident we're gonna break even on this at least, and I'm gonna bring you along for the ride. No matter what, I got to bring a combine over here, which is good. Got to do those things. Just got to do those things. And we'll see what happens. I do have a guy that called up and he wanted to chop it for corn silage, and I said, well, we'll see if we get rain. If we get rain, then I probably will combine it. If we don't get rain, you're welcome to chop whatever's there for corn silage. But other than that, here's Teresa's little blue car, and things are good. I'm pleased with what I'm seeing. As sad as that may be or not be, I am pleased with what I'm seeing. Right, Teresa? Oh, she never is happy today. How happy are you today?
Will you take that shit off my face, please?
On the happiness gauge, I think she's about a 0. 0?
Keep pushing it.
What's going to happen?
Get that shit off my...
Okay, so I drove down to the bottom of one of these hay fields that I planted the corn through. This was orchard grass. Fescue orchard grass. It was all headed out. I do have a little deer damage because, the deer just love to bite they come along and they bite that. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a 30,000 plant population through this grass. Looked terrible. It looked terrible trying to come up through this. Real spindly, real hard to come up through it, and I thought that I had made a fatal mistake, which was a fact. I felt that I had done a fatal mistake. It has now pollinated. You can see that it's still pollinating. You can see the pollen on the leaves. The silk looks good, nice and sticky. Everything's doing its thing. It's pollinating. Compost, lime, nitrogen, secret sauce, and that's it. Yeah, sprayed it twice because I didn't have a good enough kill on the grass, and this stinking hemp dogbane, which is next to near impossible to kill, it will be hurting, as it goes. But 30,000 plant population, if you go to where you have a spindly stalk like let's just grab this one right here. So I got a spindly stalk here. It's not doing too good. Hasn't tasseled yet, so it's going to throw an ear, and it'll probably catch enough sunlight to produce another ear. But this guy right here, he said, hey, you ain't doing so good, so I'm going to put on 2 ears, and we're going to fix you up there good. And this one here did the same thing. Got 2 ears, 2 ears. Didn't want 2 ears. I didn't want 2 ears. I wanted one nice big fat sucker, you know. And here's a spot here where it did the same thing as a spindly stalk, just tasseling now. But we've got a nice ear there, nice ear there. Oh, we're going to put 2 on there. A couple of spindly ones here, so a couple spindly ones there. But we are going to have a crop of corn, guys. And to look down through, I'm going to get up here just a little bit. I see a small opening here where I had ran, this is where I went with the sprayer. We're going to reach down, we're going to grab this grass. This is all biomass. It is being broken down by the microbes. I'm just taking my hands and just kind of raking it across this grass. So it's breaking down, breaking up, you know, from the ground. And if you look, you can see the compost. See that blackish looking stuff there? That is compost. It is still there. It is still breaking down. The tea and the microbes from it have washed out of it. It is, what, August 6th today, I believe. This has got some moisture to it. Definitely. We had a little bit of rain last night, 3/10 of an inch. The tilth of the soil is good. This is no till. And I'm taking my thumb and just forcing it down through there. And this is what I've got. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ground. Yeah, so everybody that said One Lonely Farmer is a moron and doesn't know what he's doing, through the toughest of toughest years that we have gone through, this is right up there with in the top 10, and it's looking good. So there you go.